Hey, Kinksters. I'm pleased to say that Sofia Gray has got the perfect gift for you, our favorite friends of the podcast. Starting in March, use the promo code SGSHOW at checkout for 10% off all seller memberships and buyer coins packages on sofiagray.com. That's SGSHOW. Thanks so much for listening, and now on with the show.
The Sofia Gray Show.
Hello, listeners and kinky friends. Welcome to the Sofia Gray Show, where we discuss all things sex, kinks, and fetishes. From the sex stories to the latest trends in the erotic world, we talk taboo transparently. This podcast is brought to you by Sofia Gray, the largest used underwear marketplace. I'm Tracy Bust.
And I'm Lacey Bloom.
And today we are talking Primal play. You can keep that in there because you know what I mean. You don't have to edit that out, Lacey, because that it's gonna be happening again of like primal play.
Oh, it's gonna happen in my episode that we're recording too. I don't know if people want an inside look at to how the two of us record, but we usually record a couple episodes at the same time just because our schedules are like bonkers. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have some words. There's gonna be some words in mine.
Right. I got my pop screen up for all the primal playing I'm gonna be talking about.
Play.
Yeah, so hopefully it won't be like too much of a hassle on anyone's ears.
Those heavy peas.
Yeah, heavy peas. That sounds like sexy too. Just like it's gonna be a
it's
heavy
just we're
pee.
just a little sex deprived. That's what it deprived.
It might be. That might be the case. Well, yeah, that might be the case, guys. But solo play, I could talk about that all day.
Summer is coming.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will be too.
Oh yeah. As I said, today we're talking primal play, which is a type of BDSM play that focuses on raw feelings and actions that are evoked by natural impulses and urges. So, you know how like people refer, like, I obviously this is just like, I'm just researching this. This isn't anything that I've actually like actively have been like, we're going to do primal play, but certainly I felt primal. But it's like kind of like when people are like, it's like my inner caveman. You know how people say that? Or it's like my inner caveman. And I feel like that maybe is what it means in terms of like primal play, where it's just like, it's about natural impulses. It's just like you're just really giving in to like aggression or however you're feeling, like whether it's aggression, silliness, happiness, like you're just like kind of like getting in touch with like the raw sexual feelings in yourself and kind of putting aside any sort of like nicety norms. You're just like getting like, here's the thing, you're getting in touch with your inner animal. But
That's what I was thinking, was like the animal within.
Yeah. But this isn't animal play in terms of where people are, take on like an animal pet. It's like often like alpha, versus beta, I guess. Mm-hmm. But you're not like wolves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not necessarily. It's more of like the animal instincts as opposed to like the animal itself.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, well, you can act like animals if that's your instinct, but it's like not like going from, you're not starting from a place of like animal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I feel like a lot of people think that like when you like ravage someone, which is like kind of what primal play is, of just like, it can be of like you're ravaging someone. And like, I feel like when I think about that, I always think of like, like you're just ripping someone's clothes off and you're fucking on the stairs. And then like, just like, cause you have to get each other.
It's never a bed. It has to be like up against the wall or the stairs or the rough hardwood floor. It's got to be like a very rough, unplanned surface.
Yeah. And so going with the term unplanned, which is like, I think maybe a misconception about primal play, is that primal play doesn't necessarily have to be unplanned, and it doesn't have to be like meaningless. It can be like, you know, when you plan with your partners and you know, come up with your safe words, safe gestures. It can be a form of like showing the affection you have for each other. It's not meaningless. People may experience this kind of emotional disconnect when you engage in primal play, but it doesn't have to be. When you're like connecting with your most primal self, it's also at your most vulnerable. And I think with that does come trust and connection with your partner. And it is a way, yeah, it's primal. Yeah, you know, you're not, you know, you can be like growling and ravaging, but it is a way to show affection.
Yeah, I mean, because you're letting somebody else experience you at this vulnerable state. I mean, when we think about just sort of like the act of dating, whatever that means, you know, in 2021, there's always sort of like this falseness of, you know, when you're getting to know somebody, like you don't show them all of the things you do behind closed doors all at once, like because then they know everything about you and that makes you super vulnerable. And so, yeah, this is, I think, a great vulnerable way to, you know, let loose with a lot of trust. I think there's got to be a lot of trust involved on both parties.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, maybe especially women, who am I to say, but just based on my own experience, when like when you do give into your primal instincts, like you're like, am I going to be sexy? You know, like, is this sound I make sexy? Is what I do with my body sexy? And it's kind of like this like fun way where when you give into your natural impulses, like that is sexy. Like you are like kind of like expanding what your brain thinks is sexy. And I think maybe, could be wrong, but I think maybe that could kind of be some of the hesitation for people in terms of like getting into the role of what you will play when it comes to primal play. And I think it's also like, so it is this way to kind of feel more confident in yourself, confident in your body, confident with your partner. It could be just an absolutely fascinating way to enjoy sex and connect.
I mean, do you ever think about, maybe this is just something I think about, but I think about like how self-conscious we are about our bodies and, you know, everything, our hair, what we look like, what we smell like, what, you know, we're worried about like what we'll taste like with a partner. And so I always think about, I'm like, God, you know, I know the lifespan probably wasn't great, but it was probably really chill to be a cave person. Like, in terms of like, these people are walking around like pretty much naked, you know, and I think it was just sort of like love the one you're with sort of thing, as opposed to like, I have to worry about what I look like for him on a day-to-day basis and what the world thinks of me. No, it was a much simpler time because they had real shit to worry about.
Yeah, they had, you know, I don't know cavemen, but they had to avoid eating by dinosaurs or something.
Yeah,
so they're like, let's just like fuck and run. But like, I mean, guys, I'm not a scientist or a paleontologist, and I know dinosaurs were around before people. I'm not a fucking idiot. But like, point being, when you think about like the caveman era and even like animals, like there's no like church or whatever that's like slut shaming women. There's no like, there's no established like look of what a desirable person is, which is like kind of neat, you know, where it's like you're putting all of these like preconceived notions about sex, about looks aside, and like it sounds kind of hot. It just feels hot.
It's true. It's one of those things I try not to think too hard about, because then I'll be like, okay, well, where did that idea come from? Okay, why did they get to come up with this idea? Okay, but it's just, it'll take you down a spiral. So don't even think about it. Just think, hey, this is an opportunity for me to dive back into that caveman fantasy that I've longed to experience, and leave it at that.
Exactly. Or cave woman or cave person. I mean, who knows? Who's the
cave being?
Yeah. However, it just involves caves. It's just like caves. It's just like a geared cave person.
Bonus if you can find a cave to like act out your
wouldn't that
your
be
primal
yeah,
plan.
I think that has like a lot to do with it. Like if someone was like had like a full on cave, not like a cave dungeon, but I'm talking like rocks, stalactites, stalagmites. If there's anyone out there who like made an actual cave with that shit, I want to know about that because that sounds awesome.
With a 4-poster bed, like
okay,
because
yeah,
I still want to be comfortable.
Sure, I get that. But if for people who don't, who are like, you know what, I'll fuck in a puddle. That sounds great.
Puddle and stalactites.
Yeah, just like I need to know this. I just need to know, or just like being tied up to stalactites and stalagmites, whatever is in a cave. Like, again, guys, I don't know cave
I like
architecture.
hearing you say stalactites.
I know. It's pretty sexy. Stalactites.
It's a whole new side of Tracy I didn't know.
Yeah. I want to connect with my inner cave person. So even though, like, primal play feels, like, so, like, ambiguous and animalistic, and you're like, that cave people didn't have like terms back then of like dominant and submissive because they probably didn't have words yet. I'm being an asshole towards all the cave people. I'm sorry, but whatever. They're not
terms even here
nowadays.
to defend themselves.
I know.
Like that's so unfair.
I am being so unfair to all the cave people out there. That said, for us, for society, there are terms such as predator and prey, which is predator is the dom, prey submissive. There's the term that also can be applied to a dom, which is hunter, which I think that's like sexy. I mean, I don't like whatever, like hunters in real life, whatever, but like hunter in bed, like it's like you're hunting for her, like hunting for their pleasure.
Ooh, I like that.
Hot.
I thought you were looking for like some weird like vagina euphemism, but I'm glad you went with pleasure.
Yeah, no, I don't need euphemisms anymore. I'm trying very hard not to use euphemisms in life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's this weird thing where I'm just like, yeah, you're touching her labia. Yeah, you're touching her clitoris. Like, I don't need to.
Let's just get to it.
Just get to it. Like, it's a vulva. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. It's like, what am I gonna do? Call a clit a what's it called? A devil's doorbell or whatever. Just like you're touching her clit. Like
her magic button.
Yeah, like this is a dick. These are balls. Like, you know what? Great. Or you know what I mean? I just like am like sick of like my hoo-ha. I mean, say whatever you want. This is just like where I'm at right now in like my life of like I don't need like my hee-hee or whatever, you know what I mean?
My
like,
hee-hee, yeah, I'm never gonna be okay with that one.
Yeah, like my little, just like say, whatever. But call use whatever you want. I'm just like talking about like where I am in my life. Anyway, back to terms. I'm totally going on a tangent. People who are into primal play also refer to themselves as a pack. Like
nice.
Pack of wolves, pack of people. And then there's also the term alpha, which is applied to dominant. And then there's also the term mate, which I feel like, again, is like alpha and mate. That's like very primal stuff of like looking for your mate, being, having someone dominate you, being called an alpha.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then other terms, there is pet, even though, again, primal play isn't the equivalent to animal play. You can still use the term pet. You can still use the term furry.
Yeah, I mean, these are terms that we extend beyond primal play. It's sort of that whole idea of like, primal play could involve some pet play. However, not all pet play has to be primal play, and not all primal play has to be pet play.
Right. So when someone is like, I am primal, it basically means they enjoy sex with little to no restraint, whatever that restraint is.
There you go.
But even though you are giving into primal urges, you still need rules, like with any type of, BDSM, with any type of play.
Safety first, y'all.
Yeah. And primal play can also be, It's also a thing if you're into sadomasochism, whether you're into scratches, bruises, bites, cuts, like that kind of stuff. I think it does involve pain.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
It could involve pain, depending on how how you define for yourself primal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you think about like primal, just like the idea of like being primal in general, like I think like, well, that's us at our most feral basis, instincts. Like, and so to me, that would mean some sort of pain play for sure.
Yeah. And I think the important word here is play. This is still play. So you do need to set your boundaries. If your partner is uncomfortable doing something, you don't do it. This takes a lot of listening. It takes planning beforehand. It takes safe words. It takes safe gestures. Consent is still very important, even if cave people don't know the word consent. Even if cave people didn't use safe words or safe gestures, we are not cave people.
Yes, this is the time where, as much as I was like waxing poetic about how it would be a simpler time to be a cave person, I am very grateful that we are not cave people for the very reason that we have a language, that we have words and definitions and things to put a name to that we wouldn't have been able to at that time. So, it's a fantasy. I mean, just as it is with, most kinks and fetishes that we discuss on the podcast, it's a safe way to live out what could potentially be a dangerous fantasy.
Absolutely,
But you're doing it in a safe way with somebody who trusts you.
Absolutely. Because I feel like when someone, like, if you've never done this type of play before and someone's like, I'm primal, it's all, like, I totally get the hesitation and totally get the insecurity and totally get the fear of, like, hearing that for the first time. But it's important with any type of play that you are comfortable. You say when you are feeling too vulnerable. You say when you don't like something. And if you are primal and you're a dom or you're trying to be a dom for the first time in terms of this play, it's like all about listening. You play cave people. You aren't cave people, and you lose all the terms that we need to enjoy sex, which includes consent and condoms and lube. Cave people probably didn't have lube. We do. Let's enjoy it.
How unfortunate.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that cave people, were fine, but,
Lube makes everything better. We all know it.
I mean, it's true. It's true. When a person is a dom in a primal play scene, there can be a power play ensuing. You can have the dominant submissive dynamic, or you don't have to. That's what's so like interesting about it, is like, yeah, maybe a lot of people do use the dominant submissive kind of dynamic because it is very primal, but you don't have to. So let's see. So as we were saying before, in terms of like hearing for the first time that like someone's primal and you feel a sense of fear, once you're in like a trusting relationship with your primal play partner, you feel very comfortable, you can incorporate fear. Because it is primal, it's it's unhinged, it's unpredictable, and that can be a turn on for people. But it is like beforehand, you still need to like set your limits of like if there's something that you legit don't enjoy, but like you do like the feeling of fear, it should be with something that like does make you comfortable. It's if you're turned on by the fight or flight mode, which a lot of people are, and a lot of people who do primal play are, you still need to set your boundaries.
I mean, just think about every horror movie you've ever watched where they are in immediate danger, but they still take the time to fuck. And it's very much like we're afraid, we've been reduced down to like we can't do anything else, so we might as well do this. Like fear is it's really scary, but it's really sexy. I think there's like a fine line between scary and sexy when it comes to fear.
And just like thinking about that, having never done primal play before, like I feel like it's an interesting thing to plan. Like it's an interesting thing to like plan on someone's fear. So like with that, this kind of segues to, if you want to incorporate this to your sex life, first thing you should do is talk about it first. Like, what would be a fear? Like, for me, like, I really enjoy the fear of being blindfolded. And I know, like, you're like, blindfolded fear, what? But there is a fear there because you don't know what's going to happen next. And so, like, if you're like, I enjoy being blindfolded, and these are the things I enjoy, these are the things I don't enjoy, that fear can be a turn on because you know with a trusting partner, something you don't enjoy would never happen.
Right. No, and I'm with you. I hate being out of control. So like that would probably be something where if I was with a partner that I really trusted, I would be willing to explore, something like that with them. I also really love the fear of like being caught.
Yeah.
So I think doing something not in public because we also don't want to get arrested.
No,
but,
that's not good. Yeah.
Doing something, creating some sense of fantasy of the idea of getting caught. I do think that would also be a great way to play with that.
Yeah. And I think another great way to kind of introduce yourself to this type of play is trying to be primal during solo play. And you're kind of like,
ooh, yeah.
Like, what is that? And it could be like pushing yourself a bit more, giving into like what your body feels like doing, whether it is like groaning, screaming, scratching yourself, like doing, like whatever it is. Because like we always talk about, like, for me personally, doing it solo first helps me kind of get into like,
I agree,
what I like. Like, it's just this way that I am, and there is so much solo play you can do, and this is also like one of them.
I like that idea, and I'm with you. I mean, it's something we talk about on the podcast a lot, is trying out specific fantasies or toys, like anything that you might be interested potentially in trying out with a partner, but doing them by yourself first as a way of, you've got the time, you've got the tools, like this, why not try it out by yourself? So yeah, this is one where on instinct, I wouldn't think of it as something to incorporate into solo play. But now that you've mentioned it, I am intrigued. Something that might be fun to do is record yourself too. And just whether it's audio or video, and just sort of, watch it or listen back, or even share it with your partner, like watch and listen with your partner.
Yeah.
And see how they react to it. Because that would be a nice little taste of what could come next.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I want to talk about toys for a second, because obviously people didn't have vibrators, but so it is like something to think about in terms of like, okay, I'm into this with this toy, I'm into this with that toy, I'm into whipping, I'm into vibrators, I'm into whatever. It's like, oh, how do you do that with just your hands or just your body? It is like this fun, or, if you are like, I want to use a vibrator but still be primal, that's, fantastic as well. But it is like this fun challenge, just given.
That's exactly what it is it's a challenge, like of, as much as we're like, hey, bring toys into the bedroom with your partner. Hey, play with stuff you have laying around the kitchen with your partner.
Yeah.
Y'all know how much we love a good spatula, but this is a great time of just sort of stripping everything back to the point of it's you, it's me, go. So there's something challenging in a great way about that.
So again, as we were talking about, I mean, people might be like, okay, well, is this dangerous? Is primal play dangerous? Like, what if I let go and I go too far? What if my partner lets go and they go too far? And it's like, I get that. I 100% get that. But again, safe words, safe gestures, Yeah. I mean,
I don't think it'll be dangerous so long as if you're planning it out and you're discussing things ahead of time, you're placing the danger in a controlled environment. You're saying like, here are the ways we are going to control the danger. And of course, at any point, you can use a safe word. At any point, you can call it quits if something, even if it wasn't on your list of, hard limits going into it. Like you didn't realize that you don't like scratching. Maybe it's too much, it's too painful, or maybe you don't like scratching on a particular part of your body. Like, that's fine. There is no reason that just because you didn't mention that up front that you can't talk about it in the throes of passion. There is no reason to put yourself in a place of danger. Unsafe danger, unplanned danger.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, like, I feel like overall, like, there's this feeling with primal play, you are giving yourself into your urges. You're giving yourself into your passion. And when people think that, they're like, well, like, then there's no rules. Then, like, if I do have a safe word, if I do have a safe gesture, then that is, like, me not giving into my passion a little bit and me not being primal. But being primal is about being free. And you feel free when you feel comfortable versus when you're like being an animal. So like in order to feel free, you need the, consent, you need to feel safe, you need your safe words. And then like that you have freedom to be primal with those parameters. Does that make sense? I'm making
Oh no, that makes perfect sense. Well, and honestly, we've been highlighting mostly more aggressive like behaviors when it comes to primal play. Primal play is going to look different for everyone. Like, maybe it is super rough and aggressive with biting and scratching. Maybe it's giggling and tickling and licking each other's bodies. I mean, I don't think there's a wrong way to experience it. So I don't think people need to automatically also assume that primal play is going to have to be rough.
No, it's whatever you're feeing,
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, guys, thank you for getting primal with us. I'm really looking forward to trying this out. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. And as I'm still single and trapped inside, although an end is near, for that, this might be something to add to my solo routine. I'm very interested. Wait, you know what? Even when you're by yourself, you gotta spice it up sometimes,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Whether you're looking to buy or sell used panties, Sofia Gray has got you covered. If you want to earn some extra cash, you can set up your own shop in minutes and start selling your own used underwear. And they take no commission. You'll keep 100% of every single sale that you make.
If you've got a kink for used panties and you're looking to buy your next pair, look no further. The whole process is completely anonymous. Sofia Gray will never share, store, or archive your personal information. The name Sofia Gray won't even appear on your bank receipt. So head on over to sofiagray.com to start selling or buying used panties now.
If you're a fan of the podcast, we hope you'll subscribe on your favorite podcast streaming platform. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts to let us know what you think. And while you're at it, feel free to share your feedback or questions by sending an email to podcast@sofiagray.com. Until next time, I'm Tracy Bust.
And I'm Lacey Bloom.
And we're here to say, let them be kinky. There is no kink shaming here.